A Florida father chases a man with a bat and a beer for snooping on his daughter. A Florida sheriff, fed up with school shooting hoaxes, posts a boy's mugshot on social media. The Philadelphia flasher was caught flashing in Florida. And a Florida man is arrested for keeping 2 alligators in his backyard pool. These are the weird stories for Friday on Weird AF News. They're all from the state of Florida because, as you know, maybe you don't, but on Friday on Weird AF News, I only do weird news from Florida. It's Florida Friday on Weird AF News, leading you into the weekend with these wonderful Florida stories. Let's go. A Florida father chased a man with a bat and a beer for snooping near his daughter's window. This story is out of Palm Coast. A Florida man father took matters into his own hands when he confronted an alleged peeping Tom peering into his daughter's bedroom window. This guy was armed with a Louisville Slugger, and I bashed his head in with my Louisville Slugger. Anybody fans of Eazy-E out there? Probably not. Just me again. Okay, so this Florida man father, this guy's like Rambo. He was on a mission. He took his baseball bat and he camped out in his own backyard waiting for the suspect, who apparently had been terrorizing their neighborhood for over a year, this peeping Tom, this disgusting person. Here's a quote from the father. "He was up at my daughter's window looking in. I said a couple of choice words, and when he turned toward me, I swung that bat, man. You know, it didn't seem to faze him. He was a pretty big dude, so I was going to go for the head, you know, and when I did, he started to run." There's some security footage of this incident showing the daring father chasing the suspect down the street. He can be heard yelling out to neighbors for help. Call the cops, somebody call the cops. He could be heard screaming as he chases the man with a baseball bat and, funny enough, also had the beer in his hand. So hey, hold my beer. Never mind. I'm going to take it with me. A little swinging and swigging on a Friday night. That's helpful, though, you know, because after you finish your beer, you now have an extra weapon to use when it's all done. An empty beer bottle can be, a great secondary weapon. In case your Louisville Slugger breaks or whatever, you know, you might break it on a guy's skull, and then you need the beer. Go to the beer. Second weapon. Now, in the video footage, you can see the Florida father chasing the Florida man, peeping Tom, out of frame, but you can still hear the fired-up father yelling at the suspect. "Where you going, boy? Come here. I got something for you. I got my Louisville Slugger in my Budweiser," he can be heard shouting. Finally, I'm on a Florida man's side on this one. This is a Florida man I think we can all get behind, you know what I mean? I mean, at the least, you can say that, you know, this Florida man is using a weapon in a proper context, not just shooting at cars that speed down the street in front of his house, or blasting the landscapers for being too loud, or shooting Chick-fil-A employees for forgetting that amazing sauce, or, need I go on, shooting a coworker after arguing about which came first, the chicken or the egg. Need I go on? According to the police report, this Florida man peeping Tom suspect has been caught creeping around multiple neighbors' homes in that area. In fact, just one day before the incident, he was seen outside this same house, probably trying to terrorize the same daughter. So this guy's a hero, man. In fact, we have a quote from the mayor who said, "Yeah, this is kind of cool, actually. We're hoping that this guy will put on a cape and find some more bad guys in the area." Just kidding, he didn't say that. A famous flasher has been caught doing his deed in Florida. Well, if you're a flasher, you got to make it down to Florida on your tour eventually. That's where all the famous flashers come from. The story's out of Brevard County, Florida. Deputies caught a man known as the Philadelphia Flasher. They caught him in his home attic. According to the sheriff's office, they say this man, Stephen Barrick, age 57, was spotted exposing himself and touching his own genitalia in a pleasing way to himself, not to others. It's never a pleasing thing for others to witness. It was pleasing to him, and it was happening along a bike trail. That's where you want to go when you're touching yourself. Oh, man, you know, find what you love in life, guys, and let it kill you. Isn't that the lesson here? This guy can't stop touching himself in front of people. It says when deputies arrived on the scene, Florida man Barrick fled on his bicycle, prompting a chase to a nearby home where he ran inside and climbed into his attic. Eventually, Barrick was talked out of the attic and he was placed under arrest. Now, the sheriff in this area says that Florida man, well, he's not really a Florida man. He's a Philly man, but he's in Florida. So I guess temporarily he's a Florida man for the sake of this incident. This guy has a criminal record dating back over a decade with similar exposure charges. And I guess this is where he gets his nickname, the Philadelphia Flasher. Don't you love it when famous acts go on tour, guys? Yeah, man, I saw the Philly Flasher in like 94 in Rhode Island. Yeah, he was opening for the Wankers on the Public Indecency Tour. Anybody catch that one? Oh, that was a doozy, bro. Now, according to this Florida Sheriff's Office, they say in subsequent years, they've arrested Barrack on charges, including drug possession, loitering, battery, resisting officers, and of course, what he's known for, his famous finishing move, exposure of sexual organs. Here's a quote from the sheriff. Well, you know, this piece of crap goes all over Philadelphia flashing his junk, then finds his way to our community when he gets arrested, is shipped back to Philadelphia to face charges, is let out of jail at some point up there for whatever reason, and then comes back down to Florida where he has now been arrested multiple times for violation of probation, possession of some cocaine, exposure of sexual organs on 4 different occasions, and now yet another charge of showing his junk to our lovely citizens. I love how the sheriff actually used the word junk. That's amazing. Yeah, he ain't going on no junk tour down here in Florida if I got something to say about it. So let this be a lesson to you flashers from other cities. You know, you think you could just come down here and show your junk in Florida in the Walmart parking lot and whatnot on bike trails or at various bus stops and fast food enterprises? Well, think again. Put that junk in jail. Export your junk. We're going to export your junk. They should put all the junk flashers, whatever you call them, junk flashers, the junk exposers, just put them on a bus, bust them out like they do. Florida did that with a lot of immigrants. They bust them to another city. You should bust all your junksters to, I don't know, the rim of a volcano and then give them a little push. A Florida sheriff posted a boy's mugshot on social media after a school shooting hoax. A Florida sheriff was fed up with a series of false school shooting threats and decided to take a new tactic to try to get through to students and their parents. He's posting the mugshot of any offender on social media. Law enforcement officials in Florida and across the country have seen a wave of school shooting hoaxes recently, including in the wake of the deadly attack at the Appalachia High School in Georgia. Now, if you're not familiar with the school shooting hoaxes, I believe what goes down is someone will call in a report. It's a fake report of an active shooter on the premises, and then everybody gets out of school, and obviously there's a big emergency situation, and everybody loses their mind. And a lot of trauma, I'd imagine, results from this as well. PTSD is definitely a thing. I feel horrible for children that are in school these days. It's got to be. When I was a kid in school, these things weren't happening like this. So the generations before me had to deal with getting under their desk for like atomic bomb threats. And now you got these school shooting threats. No bueno. And you can't be doing school shooting hoaxes. You should be punished severely. But let's keep reading and find out if what this Florida sheriff decided to do is fair to the child. The parents should be shamed, I believe, at the end of the day. Let's keep reading, though. We have here County Sheriff Mike Chitwood. He says he's tired of the hoaxes targeting students, disrupting schools, sapping law enforcement resources. So in social media posts Monday, Mike Chitwood warned parents that if their kids are arrested for making these threats, he'll make sure the public knows about it. Here's a quote from Chitwood. Since parents don't want to raise your kids, I'm going to start raising them myself. Every time we make an arrest, your kid's photo is going to be put out there. And if I can do it, I'm going to perp walk your kids so that everybody can see what your kid's up to. Now, Chitwood made this announcement in a video highlighting the arrest of an 11-year-old boy who was taken into custody for allegedly threatening to carry out a school shooting at a middle school. Chitwood posted the boy's full name and mugshot to his Facebook page. The video has had more than 250,000 views on Facebook as of Monday. The camera pans across a conference table covered in airsoft guns, pistols, fake ammunition, knives, and swords that law enforcement officers claimed the boy was showing off to the other students. All right, so this isn't one of those situations where he called in an active shooter. He actually brought these props to the school and told students he was going to do this, it sounds like, which is arguably even more psychotic. It says later the video cuts to officers letting the boy out of a squad car, leading him handcuffed into a secure facility. The boy's face is fully visible at multiple points in the video. The boy is led into a cell with metal cuffs around his wrists and ankles before an officer closes the door and locks him inside. That is, textbook perp walk right there, I'd say. I guess it remains to be seen if shame and embarrassment will go a long way when it comes to stuff like this. But, I still think the parents need to be punished as well. It's hard to have sympathy for kids that do this, though, given the recent history. Is there a way to put him in a stockade in the cafeteria and have the children throw food at his face? I don't know. Is that too much too? That's just what I came up with as a solution. There's countries that still do caning, by the way. Caning is a thing in other countries. Singapore comes to mind. Canings can be effective, guys. Public canings. Why not? Why don't we do those? Instead we put them in a cell and then they're out in 6 months doing whatever they do. What would be a real punishment is if you have to punish a Gen Z, or what's the newest generation, if you could somehow take their iPhone away for a year or 2 years, that is real punishment. No kid wants to deal with that life without a phone. Maybe there's some gloves you could attach to a wayward child who's also doing some criminal stuff. There's probably gloves out there that you can't get off. Imagine like an ankle monitor vibe. You put these gloves on, these Gen Z criminals, right? And then with those gloves, they're so bulky and whatnot that they can't operate an iPhone. You seen those gloves that Major League Baseball players wear when they get on base to slide? They look like little oven mitts. If you could somehow lock those onto a Gen Z's arms so that they can't use an iPhone for as long as the gloves are on and they cannot get the gloves off, I think you would see definitely some behavioral changes at that point. Now, of course, a lot of people online are questioning the sheriff's decision to do this, saying that the 11-year-old is just a child and that the weight of the responsibility should fall on his parents. Under Florida law, juvenile court records are generally exempt from public release, but not if the child is charged with a felony, as in this case. So it is within the law to do this. And Florida's just trying to handle this as best they can. Law enforcement across the state have been tracking a stream of threats in the weeks since the 2024-2025 school year began. In Broward County, officials said last week they had already arrested 9 students ages 11 to 15 for making threats since August. Wow, that's a lot of school shooting threats to deal with. Unbelievable. What are you going to do? How do you handle this? Is this public shaming tactic even going to make a difference is what I'm worried about. I'm not sure you can solve the problem this way because it seems like these young generations have less and less shame as a result of social media. They're always doing the craziest things on social media. Oh, look at me, all drunken, stealing hubcaps or whatever. They put everything online that they're doing, all those shenanigans. They just seem to have no shame. So I'm not sure this is going to work, which is why I still say canings, baby, canings. Let's go. Let's go back to the canings. What do you guys think? Call the show, 646-450-2012. Is this okay what the sheriff did? Do you have a suggestion as what could be a better solution to stop these sorts of shenanigans? Because it's not okay, man.
Let's rock.
A Florida man is arrested for keeping alligators in his pool. A Central Florida man was arrested for allegedly having alligators on his property. Oh, I'm sorry. I thought this was Miracle, baby. This is Miracle, baby. Our forefathers are rolling in their graves right now, all right? This is what they fought for, the freedom to keep some gators in your swimming pool. I don't see the issue here. Maybe he's saving them for a gender reveal party of some sort. These gender reveal parties are insane. Rockets and alligators, bombs, strippers, Hey, guys, I spray painted some hornets blue and pink, and I'm going to release them in 3, 2, 1. All right, back to the deets of this segment. We have officers responding to a home of a Florida man, who at first denied having alligators, but then admitted there were 2 alligators in his pool. Well, he claims he probably was like, I don't keep alligators, But I'm not saying there weren't alligators in my pool, but I'm just You try telling alligators to leave your swimming pool, all right? You try evicting an alligator out of your backyard. It's not easy. They don't exactly listen. He admitted the alligators were in his swimming pool, and then during the investigation, officers discovered a recently killed alligator on the property, along with several freshwater slider turtles. All right, this guy might be just keeping some illegal reptiles and whatnot. And he's been arrested for 2 counts of possession of an alligator, 1 count of unlawful take. It just says unlawful take. I'm not sure what that means. The taking of the alligator? So he got caught. He's got counts of possession of it and then taking of it. But I don't know how you prove this guy took them. Just like alligators are just everywhere, as you know. I wrote a song about it. Alligators are everywhere. They're just they're on your doorstep. They're in your backyard. They climb over fences. I've seen videos of alligators climbing over fences in Florida. They're on the golf courses. They're in your car. They're in your swimming pools. So I don't know how you prove that. He's got a count of unlawful take of slider turtles as well. I don't know anything about slider turtles. Are they worth money on eBay? Anybody know? Are they delicious? Oh, let me guess. They are some sort of aphrodisiac, right? They're like the crickets that I covered on the story yesterday. They make you randy, baby, randy. All right, well, this Florida man's obviously going to do some jail time for taking gators, although I don't know how you prove that the gators weren't just there. They kind of run the show over there, not the people. If we're being honest, I mean, it's kind of like the Florida man is on the alligators' property in a way, right? I think the alligators were there first. Although I don't know why, as an alligator, you want to be hanging out on Florida man's property. I mean, it's only a matter of time before the Florida man secretly records the alligator in the bathroom and begins to flash his genitalia at them. Poor gators. Got an alligator in my backyard and nobody cares. Nobody cares. Got an alligator in my patio and nobody cares. Nobody cares. Had an alligator at my birthday party and nobody cared. Nobody cared. Had an alligator in the front seat of my Volkswagen and nobody cared, 'cause it's Florida. Alligators everywhere and nobody cares. In Florida there's alligators everywhere and nobody cares. Hello, my friends and loyal listeners of the Weird AF News podcast. Thanks for spending this Florida Friday episode with your buddy Jonesy. And I want to thank everybody who sent me Florida Friday articles the last couple of days. Very helpful. You made my job easier. I appreciate that. Hope you're having a great weekend. I want to give some thanks and praise to people who left me a positive review on my Amazon, Weird AF News Amazon. Starting with Joseph Sellers, who gave me 5 stars and wrote, "Best way to wake and bake." Isn't that amazing? That's a pretty good title. I agree, Joseph Sellers. Best way to wake and bake. Weird AF News. Joseph wrote, "Jonesy rocks. As a Gen Xer, I love the music references. If Jonesy's comedy is not your thing, hit next." Isn't that great? Joseph gets it. Yo, Joe, you get it, bro. If I'm not your thing, hit next. So easy to click away. I didn't put my podcast in your ears. After all, I didn't choose it for you to listen to it. I didn't deliver it to your door like an Amazon package. No. If my comedy's not your thing, hit next. Joseph gets it. Joseph wrote, "No need to be nasty. Just move on." You know, Joe, that would be common sense, though. And as you know, my friend, common sense, unfortunately, isn't very common. And then Joseph writes, "Good luck with your life, man." Good luck with your life, Joseph Sellers. I hope you're having an amazing weekend, dude. You're awesome. Thank you for that amazing review. It was very sweet and short and right to the point. And it sends a message. I don't know if people are going to get that message, but it does send a message. Another amazing review by Mama John's. This is a little long one. It's 5 stars, though, and it begins by saying, the title is, "We start our day laughing thanks to Jonesy." Ooh, I can't wait to find out who we are. Is this a whole family, or am I the morning ritual of some commune in Utah? Probably not. I don't think Utah enjoys Jonesy. Okay, here's what Mama Johns has to say. I found Weird AF News on Amazon Alexa's daily news selection a few years ago and love it. Jonesy reports on real idiosyncratic news. His sense of humor, sarcasm, and comedic timing is the best. My tweens keep hanging around my room whenever this podcast was on, and so now we all start the day laughing together. Look at Jonesy bringing families together to bond. Who would have thought? Sometimes I fast forward a couple parts here or there because of their age, but it's not anything worse than what they've seen on the regular world news, to be honest, and they look forward to listening every morning. Wow, that's amazing. Look at a whole family. I never thought that I would do a podcast and a whole family would be listening to it in the morning. This just blows my mind that people enjoy this. I'm just so surprised. Okay, then lastly, Mama Johns writes, I learned Weird AF News is also on Audible, Spotify, Google, Patreon, YouTube, Apple, Facebook, and Instagram. There might be more. Amazon only plays this podcast in my daily news briefing along with all my other stations, so I immediately followed on the apps that I use. Now we can listen to missed episodes on the go, in the car, the Fire TV. You get the point. If you haven't already, give it a try for a few days. You won't be disappointed. Even if this podcast is not your style, it's a quality production that deserves a 5-star rating. Wow, isn't that amazing? Mama Johns, I'm head over heels for this review. Did I just say head over heels? Like I'm just head over heels for this review. It's just so swell. Oh, I think Mama Johns is saying I'm the bee's knees and other old phrases that no one ever says anymore. Good job, Jonesy. Anyways, wow, I'm just really flattered and grateful for these awesome reviews. It really means a lot to me, knowing that people come to my aid and my defense when I get bad reviews, and then to hear how they listen. This is the whole family's listening. Little wake and bake listen, like Joe Sellers does. So this is awesome. If you guys ever want to leave a review, I'll read it. I appreciate all the reviews, whether good or bad. I'll still read them, because even the bad ones are kind of funny to read, in my opinion. And it's nice to know that I'm getting this podcast out there. So if you want to help the podcast, leave a review or share it. I think that's a wonderful way to get it out. I find word of mouth is the best way to share podcasts. So please do that. And if you want to support the show, just go to my website, weirdafnews.com, where you can buy me a coffee or you can join the Patreon. Those are ways to support the show. And I appreciate you all. Thanks for the love and have an amazing weekend. We'll see you on Monday. And good luck with your life, man.